And a happy Thursday to everybody out there. It's time to hit the track. This is Ross Racing. I am Matt Harrelson. Alongside with me for the ride, Russell Parker. So, having a good week?
Pretty good so far. Hey, how's your Valentine's Day going so far?
So far, so good. I've got some big plans for the weekend. Gonna head out somewhere to eat and make it nice and romantic. So,
Well, I've got big plans this weekend too, and that's watching racing.
yes, and that's what we're here to talk about. So, of course, Daytona is coming up, but in the meantime, this past Sunday, NASCAR hit the track for the first time in 2019 with the Clash at Daytona International Speedway. Now, the race started out with rain, ended in similar fashion. It was Jimmy Johnson who found victory lane after making what many are saying was an aggressive move. Of course, we're going to get your opinion on that here in just a second. So the pass on race leader Paul Menard resulted in 2 cars making contact and causing all but 4 cars to be involved in the wreck on the backstretch. Rain came shortly after. 48 team was declared the victor.
Yeah, it was honestly, the race, if it wasn't for the wreck towards the end of that, honestly, I don't think this race would have been that exciting. I hate to say it like that, but the race overall was just, it's like a freight train going around the track the whole time. Nobody never really made any passing. I think a lot to do had the weather play a big factor in that. Usually when the track is hot and slick, the drivers get more of a feel for it, and they can feel more encouraged to go and make those passes. Nobody really wanted to make a move out there until Jimmy Johnson. He knew the rain was coming, as everybody did, and he was the one who was sitting behind Paul Menard. Came down low on the backstretch, and you can replay it over and over. To me, it looks like Paul Menard and him just simply had a racing incident where they just kind of made contact. It might have been drafting, and side draft probably pulled them together. But it resulted in, I think, 17 cars getting into a wreck, and there's about 20 of them in the race. So
It was very Talladega-esque, wasn't it?
Oh, very. That was the big one for sure. I don't think you can get any bigger than that because, there's 4 cars left in the race. I think it was Jimmy Johnson, Joe Logano, and I can't remember the 2 off the top of my head. But,
Basically, you had to be ahead of it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Let me ask you a question about weather. Obviously, NASCAR is outdoors, but when these guys are practicing, if it's not raining, you can't necessarily be ready for that. How do these guys train? Is there actually even a difference between driving on a dry track and a wet track?
Well, normally they try not to drive on any wet track unless it's a road course. But if they know rain's anticipated in for the forecast, a lot of those drivers, if they have their crew chiefs tell them, hey, weather's coming, rainstorm's coming very soon. Try and get to the front, because if it's over the halfway mark of a race and the rain comes out and the red flag, they can call a race there because it's already past the halfway mark. But it was clearly past it, and Jimmy Johnson, he knew that he had to go ahead and get up there and try to win the race. And it worked out in his favor despite being part of that wreck.
Yeah. So Kevin Harvick spoke out earlier this week saying that NASCAR should do away with the Clash altogether, saying that it's costing teams too much money. It's eliminating the exhibition race, would also make the race schedule shorter. So what are your thoughts on that?
Originally, when I heard Harvick say this, I was not happy with it. I have loved the Clash because it's kind of just put you out there, and it's like it's the kickoff to the race. It's like preseason for the season of NFL. But I think he actually kind of makes some sense because he broke it down. It's about $300,000 per car.
Whew.
And if you're Joe Gibbs Racing, who all 4 of his cars were involved, actually I think you even count 4 or 5, depending on what teams you're looking at. But essentially 4. Do the math on that. That's a lot of money.
It's over $1 million.
That's a lot of money you've lost there. So I think that makes a lot of sense for the teams to want to try and reserve that money for the use of points races, because the Clash really means nothing more than, oh yay, it's time to go racing. That's pretty much it, and there's really nothing else in it other than a trophy and just some recognition heading into the 500. So I would say maybe do away with it, or I think Harvick even came up with an idea of where because the way you get into the Clash is that you have to be a pole winner from last season. So maybe those drivers who got a pole but did not make the All-Star race, they can have some open spots for them to get into the All-Star race.
How many years have they been doing the Clash?
I think it's either 30 or 40 years now.
Really, that long?
They've been doing it for a while, and of course, everybody used to remember it as the shootout or.
Okay, it's got a different name.
Yeah, it's had different names over this couple of decades, but yeah, it's been around for a while, and I think shortening the schedule as well would probably help out a lot because these drivers are down there for about 3 weekends, and not just them, but the TV crews and everybody else is just down there having to deal with that for 3 weeks. Call it speed weeks for a reason. So maybe if eliminate that, eliminates an extra week of being down there. So it also saves some amount on traveling and just less congestion as well.
All right, so let's switch gears now to qualifying for the Daytona 500, and it was an all Hendricks Motorsports front row that also resulted in all 4 Hendricks drivers to post 1 through 4. That's a pretty good day.
Yeah.
It was William Byron and new Chad Knaus in the 24 car who claimed the top spot, with Alex Bowman in the 88 snagging second. And I just want to say it real quick, 24 and 88 are 2 famous numbers, not necessarily associated with these 2 guys. But Johnson, Chase Elliott took 3 and 4, but their spots not locked in. So that's due to the pair of 150-mile races that are happening tonight, the Daytona Duels. Now, Byron and Bowman are locked in with their qualifying positions, but everyone else is going to be racing to get as high as 3rd or 4th, depending on which dual teams qualify, right? So
yeah, it's going to be a wild night tonight. I can't wait to get started. Obviously, first of all, I got to say props to Hendrick Motorsports. I expected Jimmy Johnson to come out in full swing this season, and as well as Chase Elliott. But, I mean, William Byron, Alex Bowman just impressed me so far to start off the season. Taking over that front row is going to be tremendous, and hopefully for Hendrick, Jimmy, and Chase can hold on to those top spots. Now, of course, they have to fight for that in the duels. You can shuffle up all the positions in the duels there. But, I think this is their 5th pole in a row at Daytona for the Daytona 500. And, this I don't think you had that happen much often with a full team to take over the first 4 positions. So I think they're going to be the team to watch out for this season, the way they already started.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. So let's head down to our very, very local level here, right here in Rockingham. And yesterday, the Richmond Observer released an article related to our home track, of course, Rockingham Speedway. And the article is about some interesting tweets on the track's Twitter account put out by Frank Bloom, who is the Vice President of Events, Sales, and Marketing. So the tweets were about having meetings on the West Coast, trying to line up events for both racing and other events related to the Rock Speedway and Entertainment Complex. So what's your take on all this? Seems like they kind of like to be cryptic, but at the same time, what are they saying here?
Well, it definitely gets the hype going, and I actually put on Twitter myself. I said #hype because it definitely gets you motivated and hopeful that we got racing coming back to the Rock.
But do we though? Do we know that for sure?
Well, look, we got until April of 2019 to figure out if we're going to be on the 2020 to 2025 schedule. Layout. I'm not sure if NASCAR is doing the five-year contract deal like they did this past go around, but last year they revealed the schedule in April of 2018, so that's where I'm expecting us to see the 2020 schedule be revealed. And there's been so many speculations of what's going to happen. NASCAR executives have understood that most people their fans want more short track racing. Rockingham takes that. They want to see less of the 1.5 mile cookie cutter tracks because they're not been that exciting. I think they're going to try and solve that for this season, but I really think that we have a good chance of getting in for 2020.
And I think what you're saying is that if they were going to try to get us on the schedule, now's the time to be doing that, right?
Yeah.
Which it seems like perhaps they're doing. So,
and it may not actually be the Cup Series, but the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series can come back. Maybe even the K&N East Series can come back as well. There's endless possibilities for NASCAR. Even ARCA, they just recently bought out ARCA, and now they can put them back in Rockingham as well. I'm all for any racing at all. I don't care if it's maybe not lawnmowers, but maybe some go-kart racing on the small track behind it or something like that. Anything to get something going there exciting to me, and not just racing, but events in general. Of course, we got the Epicenter coming in May. I know they're doing the camping grounds at the Rock for that, right. But I think they're going to have a lot of cool stuff coming in the coming years. And I am really excited for what they got in store.
Yeah, there's obviously enough room and enough time and space out there to be able to have both entertainment stuff and racing, sports stuff. So that could definitely be in the cards. But speaking of Truck Series and Xfinity Series, before we get to the Daytona 500, the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series and the Xfinity Series are going to be getting their seasons underway Friday night and Saturday afternoon. So perhaps the big story for the Truck Series entering 2019 is Johnny Sauter returning to Thor Sport Racing. Now, Sauter ran for Thor Sport from 2009 to 2015 before spending the past 3 seasons including a 2016 championship campaign with GMS Racing. No, that's not Good Morning Sand Hills, as much as I'd like for us to have a NASCAR.
Germain Motorsports Racing, I think
there
is
you
what
go.
it is.
But is this a good move for the former Truck Series champion?
I really don't know because TSR ThorSport, I mean, he was with them from a good while and had only about 10 wins out of a 10-year season, and his highest finish and ranking was second. That's back in 2011. But with GMS, he's only been there for 3 years, and 13 wins, 1 title, and he's finished second and fourth in the other 2. So I think him leaving GMS was probably not the best move, but maybe he's taken the talent that he's built from over there and maybe bring that knowledge over to ThorSport. I think they got 3 other trucks on that team that maybe he's trying to spread some knowledge to there before he moves up to the Xfinity Series. That could be the case, but right now I just don't know if that's the right move for him. I don't think it does.
All right. As for the Xfinity Series, no name seems to be bigger than Christopher Bell. I feel like we've been talking about this guy for at least a year. But he's going to be entering his second full-time season with Joe Gibbs Racing in the number 20 Toyota, which we talked about was a good move for him. But Bell won 7 races last year. However, did not win the 2018 championship, finishing last of the championship 4 drivers in the season finale. Is this Bell's year to win it all?
I think it is. Like I said, 7 wins. He's also had 18 top 5s out of 33 races out of the whole season, 20 top 10s, 5 poles. I mean, this guy's led 14% of the laps of the whole season.
That's crazy.
And he only finished 11th in the season finale. So he just didn't have a great race, but he did lead some laps. So I think this will not be a sophomore slump for Bell. I think this is going to continue to fire him up. I mean, the rookie season was spectacular, and I think he's only going to go up even higher.
I mean, how long till we see him at the top level?
Well,
Can't be too long.
Last year he said he was already ready for it. He wanted to get into it. I don't think Joe Gibbs is really ready for him to move up yet. So maybe Christopher Bell either continues to stay down there and wait for a ride to open at JGR, or he takes off with some other team. I think he's probably going to believe in that process that JGR has, and probably continue to stay on board with them.
All right. So let's get to the big race that is Sunday. So I know that we don't know the starting lineup since the duels haven't taken place yet, but how you see the Daytona 500 going down?
Well, much like a box of chocolate that you get on Valentine's Day, you really don't know what you want to get for this race. So,
right,
I mean, I don't think you're going to see big wrecks like you've seen in the Clash. I think you're going to see drivers, and hopefully it'll be a sunny day. I haven't checked the forecast yet, but there's always a threat for rain at Daytona. However, this race is going to be big. It's not really starting off yet for the new rules packages, but Daytona itself is always special. Anybody can win this race, from the Hendrick and the Penske guys all the way down to the single car driver teams who just come out to race only the 500 out of the whole season. So anybody can win this race, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
So who you got?
Based on Jimmy Johnson's record so far at Daytona this season, which is 1 win, I'm still going to keep him as the winner of this one.
Yeah, I'd actually written down Jimmy Johnson for you last time you picked him, because I think we had you pick it the last Ross Racing show we did, so sticking with that.
Yep.
All right. So before we end the show, we've got a new series here called Checkers or Wreckers. So I'm going to read off a statement. Russell, you're going to say, if you agree with it, you're going to say checkers. If you don't, you're going to say wreckers. Pretty simple. Let's get right to it. So regardless of the winner, Team Penske and Hendrick Motorsports will dominate the Daytona 500.
I'm going to say checkers. I think Team Penske ran really solid in the Clash. Logano, Keselowski, and Ryan Blaney, all 3 of them did solid in that race. However, with the top 4 of the qualifying results being Hendrick, those guys are going to be just as hard to handle when it comes down to it. I would say Joe Gibbs Racing would have a good hand in it, but they didn't really show a whole lot of speed. They don't usually do in qualifying either. But I think overall you're going to see Hendrick and Penske just be the top 5 all race.
It's setting up to be that way. Number 2, a non-Cup Series driver will win the Xfinity Daytona race. Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski will be in that race, so someone other than those 2 will win.
I'm going to go with checkers, and I'm probably going to go with Christopher Bell to win this race. I know we just talked about him, but I think he's going to be the favorite to start off this season for Xfinity Series. And if it was Kyle Busch in this race, I probably would say wreckers, but I think Christopher Bell is going to get this one here.
All right, here's an interesting one. Ford will have the most wins in the 2019 season.
This might be another checkers for me. Now last season, the Camaros were unveiled from Chevrolet. They did not do good at all last season. However, Ford, with their new Mustangs this season, they put on a clinic in that clash, and they're still showing good speed. So I think if they continue on this way, now this is a plate race, so judging them based on the rest of the season is going to be very difficult. But if you start off on the right foot, the only way you can go is up.
All right, so you just talked about Hendrick Motorsports potentially having a good year. So number 4 here, Hendrick Motorsports will have 2 drivers in the championship 4 at the end of the season.
I'm going to say Wreckers on this one. I think Jimmy Johnson will go very far in the playoffs this year, but I don't think he's going to be that driver representing HMS at the end of it. I think it'll be Chase Elliott who's going to be in there. I don't know if he'll win it, but I think he's going to be the one that's in there.
All right. And then finally, and I got to admit, you're going to have to explain this one to me, but
right.
the double yellow line rule should be removed from Daytona and Talladega.
So the double yellow line rule is basically an out of bounds line at these tracks. So if you go below it,
okay.
if you go below it and you pass somebody, you got to give that position back, or you have to take a black flag and drive through the pits. So there's been some speculation on this rule last season in Xfinity race, where a driver was thought to have passed below the yellow line, and he actually ended up getting his race win taken away from him. So that sparked a lot of conversation lately for it. And overall, it hasn't really been a controversial rule because everybody knows that when you go to these tracks, it's there. And for me, I'm going to say Wreckers on this one. I don't think they should not remove this one. I think it's a safety protocol for it. I heard someone say the other day, I mean, if there's pavement, it should be legal. Not at Talladega and Daytona. Those tracks are too dangerous to be racing 7 wide on the backstretch and then having to bottleneck it back up.
It's like the LA freeway.
Yeah, it'll be just chaotic. And it's not like Michigan where you can run those lanes. Daytona is strictly a 2 to at least at max 4 wide, and even then it's too dangerous.
All right. So Daytona 500 this Sunday. Make sure to keep it locked here each and every week. Ross Racing, now that we're back into racing, is going to be on your TV, computer, tablet, whatever you got, phone. As long as you can stream it, you can find Ross Racing on it. So anything else you want to add?
Go Penske, go Logano.
There you go. I should have known. We got the thing up here for him. So Russell Parker, I'm Matt Harrelson. We'll see you on the track next week for more Ross Racing.